who bought Marvel Comics as a kid? It was a great time to buy Marvel Comics, wasn't it? So the next question goes to...
I'm a big fan, and I just want to know, over the years, which has been your most favourite character, and why?
Well, I guess Spider-Man, because he seems to be the most popular, and he's probably the most like me. He's not the smartest guy, he's not the handsomest guy, he's not the... You know, he's just an ordinary guy with a lot of problems. Luckily, he ends up beating the villain because the writers always find a way for him to do it. But I kind of like Spider-Man.
Question from the left.
Hi Stan, I just wanted to know, out of all the characters that you've made over the years, how did you come up with the designs for all of their unique costumes?
The story of my life. I heard, I stand, I just want to know, and then the important part I couldn't make out. Oh, I'd like to take the credit for them, but I really didn't. What happened was, I would come up with the idea for the character, for who the character was and roughly what he would look like. But then I would talk to the artist, and it was the artist who designed all the costumes. One of the funniest things, and it isn't really a costume, but when I thought of the Hulk, I called Jack Kirby and I said, I want to do a character called the Hulk. And he said, fine, I'll draw it. So he said, what is he like? And I said, well, I want him to be sort of a good-looking monster. And Jack threw up his hands. He said, I can't draw a good-looking monster. But we compromised and we finally ended up with the Hulk.
Question from the middle. Do you know what? We've been taking them from the front, so I'm going to take a run down to the back.
Boy, he gets a lot of exercise running around.
Hi Stan. Hi Stan. You're obviously a very creative man. Have you ever struggled to have ideas, or do they just come naturally?
Well, it's always a little bit of a struggle, but I've been lucky. If I have to think of a new character, I usually can. And it's just like, I guess, see, to me, people who can do other things are miraculous. For example, I have friends who play guitar and pianos. I don't know how you can play a melody with one hand and think of chords with another hand at the same time. It's like you have to have two brains. I can't understand it. What I do comes easy. I mean, I just have to think of some character that nobody thought of before and give them a name and let them have adventures. I mean, I almost feel guilty getting paid for it.
There we go. That's easy.
Hi Stan, you're a big inspiration, I don't think just for me, but I think for most of us here. I just wanted a quick question. I don't know if you do know, but what's going on with the Deadpool movie? I mean, is it happening? Is it not happening? I heard there was some test footage floating around. Didn't know if you knew anything.
I think there probably will be a Deadpool movie because so many people seem to want one, but I don't know that it's in the works now. They're working now, they're trying to think of a Black Panther, of a Doctor Strange. They're even working on an Ant-Man. But a lot of people have been discussing Deadpool, so I wouldn't be surprised if even as we speak, somebody isn't writing a script right now.
No, do you know what? This is so good.
Hi Stan. You've created many characters, but who's your favourite that you haven't created?
Oh. Well, of course, My favorite characters are the ones I created, but let me try to think of one I haven't created. I guess maybe Batman, because the fellow who drew Batman and created it is a friend of, or was a friend of mine. So I would say Batman. But really my favorites are the one I've done. And I have to say that or Marvel will be very angry.
Very excited.
Hi Stan, and welcome to the UK. I'm 52 years old and been waiting 45 years to meet you, so it's absolutely fantastic. I can't believe it's happening now. Do you promise that you'll come back to the UK before another 40 years?
Would I come back before another 40 years?
Yes.
If it's humanly possible, because I love England, I love London, I love all of you people, and for those that I haven't told, my wife is English, so you can imagine how I feel about the English.
We love you.
Thank you.
Guess where we're going now? Did I see a hand back here? Got one there.
Hi Stan, I was just wondering if you had to choose, what would be your favourite, the Avengers or the X-Men?
Fantastic.
Well, since the Avengers is the next movie to come out, I love them both, and I really, it's like asking a parent, who's your favorite child? I think they're both great, and I think whoever created them must be a genius because they're so good.
Thank you. One on the left.
Hi Stan, I was just wondering, out of the new creators, let's say, who would you want to work with most out of people from present day comics, if that makes any sense?
Is the question who you most want to work with out of new creators? Who would you most like to work with out of the new creators? Who would you most like to work with out of the new creators?
I don't know what you mean.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Could you repeat the question?
What creator would you most want to work with now?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm a big fan of Alan Moore. And of course, he's not an artist, he's a writer. But I think it would be fun to collaborate with Alan Moore, who doesn't need a collaborator. He does pretty good by himself. But I'm really not that familiar with the artists today, because I don't have a chance to read the books that much. So it's a terrible thing to say. I've been working on movies and television so many years now that I've sort of lost touch with who the really good artists are today. And whenever I think of an artist, I think of the older ones like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and John Romita. And I know that isn't the answer you were looking for. So I feel I have failed you and I humbly apologize.